So it is raining heavily and Miss Molly is getting wet. So we will stand like this. Don't eat my clothes. Come. Chal Molly. Chal. Chal Molly. Chal Molly. Chalo. 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 Shri Matre Namaha. Today I am going to talk to you all about something which is quite useful to people. As you all know, I have recently purchased some land, and I would like to share with you the process of purchase of land. I think I began searching for land in 2016. I have looked all over Maharashtra, Goa, Kerala. So many places I have been looking for land actively. So when I started searching for land, obviously the first thing that you do is reach out to people who already have land, or you try to read up about it online. But the information was so confusing and it was so all over the place and I didn't get any proper guidance from anyone. So what I noticed is that there's a lot of gatekeeping around this. So I really think that this information needs to be freely available out there, and someone who actually knows about this or who has gone through this needs to put the information out there, because there is a lot of false information, confusing information that is out there. And honestly, I can only give you my experience, what I have gone through. I cannot say that this is written somewhere or any of that, but this is from my first hand experience that I am going to give you the information today. So the first thing that you need to understand when you're purchasing land is that every state has its own different rules and regulations for purchase of land. I am primarily going to discuss Maharashtra because I looked for land primarily in Maharashtra and a little bit in Goa as well, some in Kerala as well, but my primary focus was Maharashtra. So the next thing is that there are two kinds of land. One is NA, which is non-agricultural land, and one is agricultural land. So in an agricultural land can be purchased by you only if you are a farmer or you hold a farmer's certificate. So even if somebody in your family has had land in the past and is registered as a farmer at some point in time, you may get that certificate easily. The second one, which is NA property, that is more costlier, and there is a lot of paperwork which makes an agricultural land into an NA land. Now NA land, the benefits of buying NA land would be that you can construct a building to some height. There are certain commercial activities also probably which you can run out there. Legally, if you want to sell land, etc., it is best if you have NA. So many of these plotting schemes which you come across, they are normally NA land, and NA land is costlier. So what happens is that they sell it in smaller chunks. So like sometimes if you have like a 1 acre land, they will divide it into say 10 or 20 small plots and sell it to you in square feet. So this is something to, if you are looking at ads wherein they are selling you square feet may land, like say 2000 square feet or 5000 square feet land, it is likely an NA property. The next thing is agricultural land. Now agricultural land is basically farmland, and if you are a farmer or you have a farmer's certificate, you can own that land. So firstly, you have to figure out whether the land you are looking at is agricultural. Normally the land which is sold, which is cheaper, is agricultural land, and these properties are normally listed on various websites. I'll list the websites in a bit. So let me talk a little bit more about the agricultural land. So agricultural land is primarily used for farming, but you can also have your own farmhouse in these lands, and you can actually, I don't know if you can run a business. I don't think it is legally allowed to run like a factory or a company or anything like that. For that you need to go to any of those industrial area lands. in certain states you do not need to be a farmer to purchase agricultural land, and in certain states you do. My husband is a Maharashtrian, and he can get his agricultural land certificate, that is a farmer certificate. We figured that we could purchase agricultural land somewhere in rural Maharashtra. So that's where the search intensified. We started by looking at properties in Shahapur, Bhiwandi area, New Bombay ke aage there is an area, Navi Mumbai ke aage there is an area. It's called something. It's beside an MMRDA and all those. There's I forget what it's called. I'll put a tag with what exactly it is called on this video. And there are many lands available over there also. Then there is land which I checked out in Konkan, which was in Anjarle, in I think I even checked out some land in Savantwadi, and further I also visited Dapoli. Dapoli is before Savantwadi, and after that I even went to Goa and looked for land in Goa as well. The rules in Goa are a little different. I saw land in Salchet in Goa, Sanguem, some place like that, and many in South Goa primarily. So what I realized was that a lot of land in South Goa, they were selling forest land. So now this is another scam. You can easily you can get duped in it, because they'll sell you some Adivasi land and then they'll tell you that, oh, that's clear paperwork, so you just fall into it and fall into the trap. You give your money and then that land will never be in your name, so because it is forest land. Then there's some other land known as eco-sensitive land. So that is again classified land. Say for example mangroves, or if you are near some creek or river, there is a very high probability that that land can get classified as an environmental land. So you should not purchase such land, because in the future it's very possible that you may have to give up that land, especially if there are some projects which are coming up in the area, things like that. So I started out by looking at land in many of these places, as I said, and then I was zeroing in very much on Murbad. The reason being proximity to Thane, because we are based in Thane. I am based in Thane primarily, and I was looking for a place where I could travel easily to and fro to Thane. Murbad, but I saw so much land in Murbad, and I almost finalized like a couple of them. But somewhere along the line, I realized the paperwork has issues. So one of the things that I was very particular was that I wanted to know who the previous owner was, what they are doing, who they are. Am I directly buying from the farmer? Am I buying from an agent? Am I buying through an agency or a company? What am I doing? So that I could see the paperwork, which would be very clearly listed out. Things will not align unless it's your time, that is for sure. So I started this journey in 2016, and finally I purchased land in 2024. So it took me 8 years to finalize on one piece of land. So it was not easy. Either it was the budget, or it was the distance, or it was simply that the paperwork was not clear, something or the other. So I started looking for it online. So I looked at websites such as 99 Acres. Then there was the Magic Bricks website, and then there was No Broker. So you have to put the filters on in all these websites and look for land, farmhouse land, villa. So these are the filters which you can apply, and then you can look for the particular listings. And once those listings come up, then you contact these people. So if it is owner owned land, normally what happens is they give you like some exorbitant rates, because see, normally now that even I have some property, I also understand that people get emotionally attached to it. They invest a lot of money in developing it. So where you have probably purchased land for, say for example, 5 lakhs, and if you have invested another 5 to 10 lakhs in developing it, say by putting a compound, by building a house, maybe not a house, even a small little shed you have built, you are obviously going to reclaim that money as well. Whereas the person coming in, so you, instead of 5 lakhs, you will easily quote like 20-25 lakhs. And the people will wonder, oh, the land in this area is only for 5 lakhs, so why are you quoting 25 lakhs, right? So this is definitely something which happened to me a lot. And initially I didn't understand it, but now I understand it more. So finally, after searching for a long time, I finally got a listing which showed me some land in the area that I am in. So when I called the brokers and those people, I realized, okay, they are broker people. And I used to schedule on a particular day, if I have to see land, I'm going in a particular direction. Say I'm going in Konkan direction. Then I would schedule, like, say, from Khopoli onwards. Khopoli, Karjat, Pali, then if there was anything in Pen, then Kolad, then Mangaon, and further also Indapur and all those places. So I would Mahad also. So I would schedule it in a line. So like a marathon, I used to do it. I used to leave early in the morning and run, and we used to look at one property. So we used to keep doing that, and finally, after many such days, we finally came to this particular land. So a few things which ticked my boxes, which I had a list, and the list got ticked off, were firstly road access and electricity, water, and the land being on clear title. As far as that, they at least they have to tell you that it is clear title. Okay, then it is your due diligence which you have to do later, which I'll talk about. So these were a few things which they told me. Accessibility is very important, because there was land which I have seen in absolute jungles. I have seen, one time I went to one area, and they said, I'm asking them, where is the land? So they are like, it's Aage. And then I can see like one big lake over there. And then they're taking me to the lake, okay? And I'm wondering, where is the land? And then they are like, half the land was in the water. So so it was like, I'm looking at land in the water. I'm going to own half the water, and half land is just the shore. And there was this one time I was very crazy about having a property which would be sea facing. My mom always wanted one which was sea facing. So I still hope that someday I can buy it. So I went to this one place, and then they showed me some property, and half of it was in the sea only. So I was just wondering, what if there is high tide, it'll just come into the land, and then what are you going to do? Because the water is inside your property, right? So it's like having a shack in Goa. So if you want to purchase the shore in Goa, that is this kind of land that I have seen in some places. Oh, and then I've climbed mountains, so many mountains, and I have gone in most like desolate areas. I have traveled, I have driven my car and gone, and I was not even good at driving, and I just banged my car so badly because the road was like this much, and I was a new driver. After that incident, I'm so scared of driving the car because it was so traumatic for me. And anyway, I banged the car and had an accident while searching for land too. So this has been like a major project for me, and I have had to face a lot of ups and downs while navigating this land search. So yeah, finally I got here and I found this land. And the day that I first visited this land, I was actually seeing another land which was further, and that was cheaper. So I told them that I'm more interested in that. But then that land was on a mountain, and I'm looking here and there's no road, there's nothing. It was so I understand that nature lover and everything. I am also very nature lover, but the problem is that if your land is inaccessible, I've had this entire experience of having inaccessible land because I had rented a property in Thane for 5 years, and that was so inaccessible. So I knew how difficult it was to even bring a water tanker there. It was not possible. So we would have to bring it down, and then the water tanker couldn't climb up, and then there would be so many issues. So as ambitiously as I was like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful jungle-like place, so serene, so much in the wilderness. While that is great, if you can't bring basic facilities like water and electricity there, then you are pretty much screwed. So I saw that land which was on the hill, and then I really did not want to buy a hill. So I decided that okay, I'm going to try and buy this land. This was totally out of my budget, and I didn't have any kind of money to purchase this land. But somehow we managed. But my point being that even though this was not very affordable for me, I still chose this because it had accessibility. The so-called agent at that time promised me electricity and water, out of which I have only got electricity so far, for which also I have paid separately. I haven't received a water connection yet. They say they are bringing a water connection, but I have to pay extra for that water connection also. But anyways, that's the fight that you have to do in rural area. So that I will talk about later. But let me tell you about the purchase part first. So now once you've seen a land and you like that land, so the next step would be to make sure that the paperwork is clear. So now before you pay anyone money, even if you pay a token amount, say up to 1 lakh, and you are okay with losing up to that much, in case there is fraud involved, then it's fine. But if you are not, then pay a very small amount, so that say 5-10K or something, which whatever you are comfortable losing, in case it turns out to be false, the land. So you need to first and foremost pay the token amount, and once you pay the token amount, the people, they hold the land and they wait for you to do your due diligence and decide on what needs to be the next step. So the next thing that you need to do is find out whether this is clear land, and for that you need to approach a lawyer. And a local lawyer is best, because they need to pull out the land records. So they will go to the local talati office, and then they will pull out the records. And ideally, if you get at least like a 50 years record, or sometimes even 70 years or 80 years ka record, if you can pull it out, that is best, because then you will see if there were any disputes, who was owning the land before you, what was happening in that land before you, etc. All of that you will come to know. So once you get those records, then you can see, you will get a clear idea who is the previous owner, who is the next owner, and all of that, and whom are you buying the land from. You will be very clear about all this. And if there is an agent involved, see if you can get in touch with the direct owner. Now in our case, it was not possible, because this was owned by a corporation, by some kind of an NGO kind of company kind of thing. I know it belonged to somebody locally, a big person, and that person had like had registered it under a dairy or something. So it was not possible to meet the owners directly. So we had to deal with the agent itself. So a lot of it was we had to believe the agent greatly. I'm not sure that is a good thing. Always you need to do your due diligence as well. Another thing that we did was we bought it inside a project. So though this is not non-agricultural plots, these are agricultural land, but this is agricultural land project. So what happens in this is, at least there are people buying close by. So if it's a land parcel of say 100 acres, which they are splitting and selling to 100 odd people, so that something or the other will be done for all the people involved. So that is something that you can count on. So then once you are sure that this is the land that you're going to purchase, the title is clear, etc., and you are going to now go ahead and register the land in your name. So there is a document called 7/12, 7/12, if literal translation. So this particular document has to be transferred into your name. So now this happens when you register yourself in the registration office of that particular district or that particular taluka. That's where it's the main office that you have to go to, and there is a registration charge which is taken by the office, and you pay that charge, and then you make the land in your name. So when you do that procedure, they will give you a copy and you will get an SMS. I will put down the link to the website as well. I will flash it over here so that you can check it over there as well for the online records. So then once you do the registration, you within a certain number of days, within I think they said 30 days or something, you are supposed to get that paper, as well as I think it will be about 20 days. I think you are supposed to get that paper as well as it will show on the website, and once it is shown on the website, then it will reflect over there that such and such land has been purchased by you. So it's a 7/12 document which will be in your name. So that is how you get to know that okay, the land has been transferred to my name. So once this registration is done, then you can see it online, as I said, and after you see it online, then you can get a copy of it offline as well. So once you get that copy offline as well, then you are the legal holder of that, owner of that land. And so now if you have to sell it to somebody later, again you have to go to that office and change the name to the next person's name. That's how this works. So another important thing that I forgot to mention is survey of the land. So once you are shown the land, then you should bring in a private person who surveys the land, and if you can also apply for the government to survey the land. So you need to bring and you need to measure the land that they are selling to you. So this is an important step as well. This is something that we did not do because we believed the agent. Now we are not sure whether we did the right thing or not, probably because we didn't know someone at that time to do it. But I'm just putting this information for you that please survey your land and make sure that if they are saying it is half an acre land, then you need to make sure that it measures to that distance, because I know some people who purchased land and they later had to move their entire boundary because a neighbor came and said ki, no, this land is not yours, this is ours. So the thing about this place where I've got the land is that there are many people in the project itself. So if there is any discrepancy, it will be within the people in the project itself. So it can be sorted out easily. But if you are purchasing individual property anywhere, it is very necessary that you survey the land before the purchase. So I think that's about it. The procedure to find land and the procedure to actually get it registered in your name. So once that is done, then is when you start doing the construction and all of that, which is the stage 2 of the entire thing. So I shall make separate videos about this. But if you have any more questions or doubts about the process, and in case there is anything I can answer up to my knowledge, there is a very good possibility that I may have missed out many steps because I don't script my videos. I just do this impromptu. So if there is anything that I've missed, please feel free to comment, and I shall answer them if I know. And if I don't know, I shall ask people and answer them as well. So I hope you like this video. Shri Matre Namaha. Thank you for watching. And before I go away, here is a video of Molly, who has become very dirty because she looked and she laid in that mud and came. So now she is the color of that mud. She did ulta pulta in that and she has come. Molu! 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 She is so dirty, so dirty. What you did and came? What you did and came, Molly? Molly, what you did and came? Now we have to give you bath. Don't eat the chappal, Molly. Molly. Ollie is going. So it's bye from all of us. Bye.